Okay, so you got a great bass line, but now how do you write a great chord progression on top? That's what you'll learn in this lesson. But first, T.
Hello revolutionary music makers, I'm Kate Harmony, this is Ray Harmony, and welcome to Hack Music Theory,
where we help you make great music that stands out.
If you're new to our channel, please help yourself to our free book, 12 Music Theory Hacks to Learn Scales and Chords, which you can download from our website.
Alright, it's time to open your door to Hack Music Theory.
Over the last couple of lessons, we've showed you the workflow needed to overcome that blank screen and get a new song started in minutes. So if you missed those, check them out.
Right, now you're at the point where you have a solid section with bass and drums, but it's not finished yet. You still need to add that vital musical ingredient, chords. So follow these 3 steps to add a chord progression.
Step 1. Roots.
Just a quick heads up if you missed last week's lesson, our bass line here is in the key of G minor with a few chromatic notes. Right, so start by copying and pasting your bass line into your chords track, then muting it. That's just there for reference. Now, the first thing you need to do is decide what chords you want to build above what notes. And the obvious thing to do is to approach each note in your bass line, excluding chromatic notes, as the root note of a chord. For example, G would be the root note of G minor.
And this approach is great for most notes, but try switch it up on at least one note, which is what we did here at the end where we decided to build D minor above A in the bass. In other words, we approach that A as the 5 of the chord, D, F, A.
So here are the root notes for the chords we chose. For every longer note in your bass line, you usually want to think of it as the 1 or 5 of a chord, because those are the most stable notes. But then on the other hand, you usually want to ignore all those quicker notes that you added to your bass line in step 3 of last week's lesson. Those are what we call non-harmonic notes. They're not part of the harmony, they're just there to make it a better melody.
Step 2. Rhythm. Right, so now you need to decide where your chords are going to change. This is known as harmonic rhythm, in other words, the rhythm of the chords. And we created an interesting harmonic rhythm by placing some of our chord changes on offbeats.
This step is sadly left out by most songwriters and producers these days, and as a result, most chord progressions have a super boring harmonic rhythm, like changing on the predictable beat 1 or beat 3. Remember, no matter how great the chords are in a progression, it'll end up getting boring if the harmonic rhythm is too predictable. And finally, once you've decided on your harmonic rhythm, simply fill in the triads.
Step 3. Flow.
Now, while that's sounding good, it's definitely not sounding great yet. And that's why this next step is such a game changer, and that is to smooth out your chord changes so you don't get those disjointed jumps from one chord to the next like we have now.
There are 2 ways to do this, depending on whether you have a common note, like between F major and C minor, as both chords have the note C, or if you don't have a common note, like between G minor and F major. We've made 2 lessons specifically on how to use both of these methods, so check them out at the links below.
And once you've done that, you'll not only have chords that all flow beautifully into each other, but you'll also have added a melodic element to your progression, which you'll hear in the playthrough coming up. Adding a melodic element to chord progressions is sadly another step that most songwriters and producers don't do nowadays. So simply by applying this step to your chord progressions, your music will easily stand out.
So now that you've got one section down, how do you write the other sections? Then how do you transition between them, especially when they're in different keys? And then how do you structure and arrange your song?
These are issues many songwriters and producers struggle with, and that's exactly why we made our online apprenticeship. This video course guides you through every step of the music making process, from blank screen to finished song.
So if you want to learn our secret method for writing and finishing great songs, sign up now at hackmusictheory.com.
Alright, now let's have a listen to our finished section.
Thanks for watching or listening if you're on the podcast, and we'll see you next week.